Hi, Hassan. Welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
I am so honored
Mhm.
to have you, and I'm so grateful that you said yes to do this interview. I've been, I think, tracking your career for a very long time now. So it was such a pleasure actually meeting you in person in August. And
Same
then,
here, same here.
yeah, obviously having you do this interview is a great pleasure. So thank you so much.
Any time, any opportunity for me to showcase and our culture and talk about food, I'm
There.
open, and that's me.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
I think I'll get the ball rolling by first saying that with the this series that I'm doing, it's really to showcase and I think highlight obviously Caribbean life, and also having I think you can still have a healthy lifestyle. You can still have you know a you know a lifestyle that's focused on well-being for yourself, for the people around you, and actually how you can introduce certain elements of our Caribbean lifestyle to be able to do that. So that's why I call my series Cooking with Love. And, because a lot of what we do, in the Caribbean, we love our food and we love to cook.
It's funny
So,
how you say that. A lot of people sometimes I remember like when I'm at events and people will be like, "How did you get that?" I say, "Love. That is the secret ingredient." You understand? Because sometimes when I'm in the kitchen, I might be prepping, I might be tired, I might be stressed, and it might. But I just remember I will not put that energy into my what I'm preparing because I'll just turn and I'll start to smile just like that. I'm not a madman, but you understand?
yeah, but I think people always think, us in the Caribbean, we get so caught up in it. But
Mhm.
but let me start by asking you, who or I guess what has been the biggest inspiration for you in your cooking?
Well, I would consider myself very lucky. This is what I wanted to do from a very young age. So it's my passion. It doesn't feel like work. I started obviously, but my mom was a magician. In the kitchen. It was five of us. And she was always making the beef pies, the sausage rolls, the this, the that. And my dad would be, he is Mr. Roast Bacon, the other kind. So I grew up in
That's a
a
total.
household where that was going on. And then, we being born in Trinidad, we have so many different cultural celebrations. So I have my friends who, when it's Eid, I'm watching their food, Diwali, this, and it's that kind of triggered me. My sister studied catering, food and nutrition and stuff, and
Yes.
I think when I went into her school at time and she had her practical, and I was like, hey, the boys here doing that, and it was like, okay then. Um, and I started at when I started secondary school at St. George's College. I was like, I wanted to do food and nutrition, and I think it's from there, very in the beginning, Form One. I was just on
Oh.
that journey from there.
So I mean, I mean, obviously it's been years now. Not that you look that
Yeah,
much
yeah,
older.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, what I mean, it's a long history, a long culinary history, and a
Yeah.
long many years of hard work. And I know you've told me that as well. It's a lot of years of hard work and passion to do what you do.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, how do you think for you, with all the years of experience that you have, and the kind of, obviously with the Caribbean heritage, with the kind of food that you do, how has that translated into more of the international, bringing Caribbean food onto the international cuisine?
Well, for me, I think after coming to England as a 18-year-old, studying hospitality, I was working in the industry, and at that point, there wasn't any kind of Caribbean restaurants, Caribbean food chains. If you wanted Caribbean food, it was that traditional Caribbean takeaway, with the bad manners of the people who serve in here and that kind of energy. And I was like, I've been trained to do this professional cooking. I've worked in all of these different, French, Italian styled restaurants, and I've seen their way of plating, and I was like, our food should be on that level. You know, I was like, I was very determined from that, early time that I want to push Caribbean food. I remember there were times where, people around is like, you want to be a chef? Why a chef? And, it caused a
Yeah.
lot of turmoil because sometimes, in relationships, sometimes you might have people who are wanting you to go this way or people encourage. But I was very adamant that I had a passion to push Caribbean food, and I started off and it has paid off in the end.
I mean, saying that, I think we talked the last time about, I mean, a lot of people try to, I think, make Caribbean food, even in, different countries like London as well. And, you don't really feel like it's home, and I think you have always expressed to me how much you wanted to make sure that the food had the flavor. And I know
Yeah.
it's pretty hard, especially finding the kind of ingredients we would love to make it taste like home. And that's always been the thing about, when it actually, we have to cook our home food here, how
Yeah.
that translates. And, how have you managed to do that and keep the flavor with the food when you're cooking for these events? And
Well, one of the ways, like obviously in the UK was there are certain areas where you can source, some of the back then, but you could have sourced your, the curries, the spices and etc. But one of the way that I was able to continue giving those real authentic flavors was like anybody's going home, I'm looking for them to bring back a suitcase for me, 15 kilo of curry. I have curry for the year. You understand? All of these things would be, I'm using chief curry. I'm using Kala. I'm using things that when people travel to Trinidad, that's the taste, that's the flavor. I'm getting my pimento peppers blended and frozen and sent up. I'm getting, all of these. So when I'm giving you your food, it's that, I'm getting my fresh bay leaves and stuff there, the magic leaf I call it, So these things used to give the food that home, that sweet hand taste, that taste that people really
but I
know and remember.
I sense with your cooking as well, I don't know, I get the sense that there is like so much tradition that comes through because, in some of the drinks you make and some of the food that you prepare, it's really like, wholesome, you
Yeah,
know, really healthy food as well. And I know
yeah,
you
definite. Yeah.
that range of also the ital, which is, we've been eating ital for years, but now everybody's talking about plant.
No, like it's the newest trend. It's everybody's plant based stuff, but this is stuff that we grew up. All of the chokers and all of these things that from the different the Indian influence, the Rastafarian food. These things are now popular and trending. You understand? But this is what I was. These things were core to my upbringing. You understand? So translating that was like I always try to a choker I might do a roasted cod with a melangen choker on top of it and bhaji at the bottom, spinach at the bottom. So it's using those tastes and flavors and techniques that we have in Trinidad, and then using classic, like if it's meats or styles of cooking that they have on this show and fusion,
I
doing
was
real fusion, not confusion.
No, no, no. This is it. Actually goes into the next question, which is, where do you see Caribbean food? Like for the next. I mean, because you guys work so hard to get it known so well, and you're so recognized in the Caribbean community and more internationally as well. But where can you see Caribbean food really going if it's got the right support and
Well,
um,
right now it's one of the foods with the highest growth in terms of over the last few years. You look back at 5 years ago, as I said, you would have to go to certain areas to source your Caribbean products. Now, there's a whole aisle in the mainstream supermarkets. You understand? So the reason that is there is because the masses want it.
yes,
So the supermarkets are storing it. So a lot of all of the other food trends, Vietnamese, this, that, they've been covered. And it's our time now. So it like here in the UK, you see where people might come there. There's a few chains that are starting off, but I see it as they are paving the road, because for us to come and drive on it, because we have the authentic stuff. They're trying,
Yeah.
but we now have to take that opportunity to push more, and you are seeing successful businesses coming out in the UK. So there is a positive, with the growth. I work with Grace Foods, who are the largest distributors of Caribbean food, and their products are moving. You understand? We're opening new markets, and it's you're seeing that that's a growing trend where other brands are developing their own seasonings, their own products, and coming onto this market. So it's full growth. You understand? With me, I have been able to see the world.
Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you, that's Caribbean food, but where do you see you in the next, what's
No,
going on with
my
you?
my my I'm still on my journey. Right now it's giving back and trying to find ways of um we living in a virtual where you have online stuff, and a lot of people uh have been living this kind of through the screens. So
Yeah.
for me, I before the pandemic and all of this commotion, I would have been traveling, doing events, doing festivals. I would be Germany, Singapore, America. That all stopped. So at first I was, obviously concerned, worried, but I was like, I need to see how best I'm gonna build myself to come out of this. So everybody was like, everyone started doing the trend of cooking and curb pickup or delivery and stuff. But that in the long term, that wasn't for me. I was like, I've started doing more online, like teaching. I'm doing practical courses with different sorts of group, and sometimes they are out of the country. They're not even in the UK, and it's being able to facilitate. So I'm actually going more. I've just got my certification to teach kids and stuff also. So it's about teaching um, and kind of passing on this knowledge that that I've got
Well,
over the years.
I know that's really important for you because I know you've told me that already about, just, how, how we can actually spread the culture and, just raise that profile, and show all the great things, because I mean, food is obviously a large part of who we are, as Caribbean people. But it just ties into so many other things because if we go to an event and there's music, there's always got to be food or there's got to be
Yeah.
something, and I think this interest that you have, I think, in teaching and spreading those traditions, I think is so important.
No,
So
no, it's about one of the issues that stopped Caribbean food, because our food, if you think about it, we in the UK, or we were here same times when the like Chinese came with their food, but with Caribbean food, they it's like, I'm not gonna pass on my recipe. I'm not gonna let this person know. You understand?
yeah,
So you would see an establishment, because it's one person who has all of the secrets and they are not sharing it. So if that person gets upset with the management or leaves, or you understand, that whole business
goes down.
fails. You understand? So when I work and I do my consulting, it's where I set up like a standard operational procedures, recipes and I've learned this along the way. Sometimes right now I'm doing my recipes where water is weighed. You understand? So
Yeah, yeah.
that you to get
Wow.
that consistency. If I'm frying it for 3 minutes on this side, 2 minutes on that, making it noted. So then if I'm not there, it will be as close as, you understand, to how
It's
it's
supposed
supposed to be. You
to
know how we did that recipe for this establishment then. So I think a lot of before where we didn't used to pay much mind to that side, that you would have trust the cook, but you cannot do that in a real business. You understand? So you have to have where these things are structured. You have your, and this is what you see when you go into any of the professional kitchens and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
was just actually going to tell you that is professionalism, and I think this is what has been lacking sometimes because, we look at people on YouTube and there's always this like throw a pinch of salt and a this and a that, and you're like, okay, but everyone
Yeah,
they
my pinch might be this, your pinch might be that.
exactly. So it's always that kind of I think subjectiveness where it's me and how much I want to put. But it's great that you're doing that because I think that will definitely redefine Caribbean cooking as well. But again, it's back to that love and that passion for what you're doing. So
Definite, definite.
you know, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And, again, please keep doing what you're doing. And hopefully, we might have you across here in Germany soon.
Well, at the Rum Fest I met, I'm heading out to Europe hopefully soon to do
Great.
some stuff. So I will definitely share with you guys where I'll be, and maybe I'll see some people who I know, and could continue sharing that sweet sunshine food from the Caribbean, and
Definitely. Well,
doing this
thank you
stuff.
so much again.
My pleasure.